All right, folks, we're now recording and live, so thanks for joining me. I'm Brian Avery with Cisco, and welcome to our quick hit briefing for this Thursday, and we're going to get your head in the cloud with Cisco and a cloud update, as well as we have a great partner spotlight and guest cloud partner that's joining us today, Concerto Cloud Services, is going to tell you a little bit about what they're doing. Might be an opportunity for you to leverage their expertise and knowledge and services and do business with them. So welcome, guys. This is Greg and Rochelle from Concerto Cloud Services. So Greg, take it away.
Excellent. Can you go to the next slide, Brian? Or do I have control?
Nope, okay. I've got it. Did it refresh for you?
Yeah, it did. Let's go ahead to the agenda to talk about what we're going to go through today. So we're going to tell you a little bit about Concerto and our history, how we started up, some information on what makes us different in the cloud marketplace today, and then we'll jump into some services that we have that can help you sell, and what a partnership with Concerto looks like, and if there's time at the end, certainly questions and answer session. Let's go ahead to the next slide, please. So what is Concerto? You know, when we started up in 2011, so we've been around in the cloud market now for about 6 years, customers were tired of dealing with the issues related to application deployments. And we looked around the marketplace and we're looking for a mission-critical application platform. Remember, this is 2011. Customers were asking for it. We had software companies we worked with that were asking for it. Nobody had built out a mission-critical application platform. They needed high uptime, they needed rich integration, they needed high performance or higher performance that they could get within public cloud, and comprehensive security. By comprehensive, I mean not just at the technology level, but the people and the processes that would be in place to make sure that that security would be run the right way as well. And the governance. So we built out a mission-critical private cloud platform at the time, and built in a fully managed component, including the database and technical application support at the bottom end of the application to fill the gap up into the application. So there's really no white space or places where things can fall down. We've gotten a bunch of awards over the years, and I think probably my favorite by far is probably about a month ago. We were ranked one of the top 5 coolest cloud companies on the planet. Does not speak to our capabilities or anything along those lines, but we truly enjoy being cool. Let's go ahead and go forward one here. So our journey to the cloud has been an interesting one. When we started off as private cloud, it was because there was nothing out there that had a mission-critical component to it. And as we move forward, we've added different components, including the ability for us to manage, maintain, and deploy applications in public cloud. And I bet you a lot of you out there are doing that as well. We do connect up and manage workloads in both AWS and in Azure. But I think that one of the things that's important to us and that we've seen across the marketplace is that you need to be able to absolutely still have a private cloud component in place to be able to really round out the entire offering. And what that means is exactly what Brian was talking about earlier. It means that hybrid is going to rule the future. This multi-cloud approach, in other words, you just don't deploy everything in one place. You're going to deploy it in multiple places. Makes a ton of sense and is exactly where strategy lands for most companies these days, with good reason. If you think about it, I'm sure that everybody on the call, or most of you on the call, recognize that there was an outage last week for AWS. And it was probably about, depending upon when certain customers came back up, somewhere around a 5 to 7 hour outage. And it really speaks to the benefit of this hybrid model and the need to use private cloud. And there's a whole litany of stories of companies that have done it. And can you go ahead and skip to the next slide, Brian? And I think that those are the sort of things that make us different. So I think everybody knows who Dropbox is. Everybody knows who Netflix is. And Dropbox moved to, they were 100% in public cloud, and they moved a decent amount of that from public cloud to their own private cloud, which they built out on their own because it was more cost effective and because they needed a higher performance level, they needed a higher SLA. Netflix has a whole bunch of their infrastructure on public cloud, but has moved their content delivery network, in other words, their streaming video part, to private cloud. And they did it for the same reasons. If you look at Gartner, if you look at just best experience and practicality, it really boils down to this. If you have an SLA that approaches 100%, so 4 nines and up, private cloud makes a ton of sense. If you require differentiated performance, in other words, it needs to be fast because this is revenue generating, it's a front-end system for your customers, then you need private cloud. If you have security and compliance and regulatory demands that are deep, like let's say in the pharmaceutical industry, you're required to disclose what kind of equipment things run on and the names of people that can access information. It's just a non-starter to do anything but private cloud. If you have a Mode 1 application, so you're in the tech industry, let's say, or your main offering is an application that runs in the cloud, and that's your revenue generation, and if it goes down, you can't make any money, then absolutely what you need is private cloud. That still leaves a ton of things that are absolutely great use cases for public cloud. But companies, when they look at private cloud, a lot of them like the idea of orchestration, automation, reporting, the ability to manage, but that stuff's tough to build. And that's why we have a pre-configured private cloud for those customers who just aren't in the game of building out their own. Building out your own, great for Dropbox, not great for probably 75% of the other companies who really want the rich and deep technology experience you can get with private cloud. Move on to the next one, please. One of the things I think that helps make us very unique is our data center footprint and our proximity to public cloud. We've purposely picked data centers where we're actually within the same actual data center as, say, Amazon for on-ramp in the East Coast and with Azure. So we can direct connect into each of those, and we're able to move workloads back and forth at LAN speeds. We have direct connect cable cross connects into their cages. This makes it more of a seamless hybrid model, so you can move pieces from private cloud over into public cloud and back. Matter of fact, we're able to do that without any loss of ping whatsoever when we're moving things back and forth. So it creates more of a cloud platform that transcends public and private cloud and makes it an interconnected multi-cloud. And at the base of that for us, and one of the critical components has been the implementation of ACI, which we started probably 2 years ago and have continued to evolve and hone over the years. And next one, please, Brian.
You got it.
Yeah. I think one of the things that's extraordinarily important for us is our ability to help partners sell. We have advisory services we can use on the front end to help determine what makes sense to put where, what the multi-cloud approach should be, and we have an entire team of people who have experience in cloud deployments, and we have an enterprise-grade group that has operational support, but then also service delivery support tied in. So we can have, in some cases, service delivery managers that are tied on a one-to-one basis to customers depending upon their needs and requirements. We follow ITIL very, very closely and give customers the ability to have failover right out of the box. So when we say failover, it's not just failing over from a virtual to a virtual, but we give them geographic clustering as well. So if anything happened in the data center, you name it, let's just say the fire sprinklers go off so we don't create anything that's too earthly catastrophic, we can fail over to the other data center within minutes, and that comes as table stakes. That's not available in most cloud offerings. It's an add-on or a nice-to-have type scenario. So those sort of things, I think, tie together to make this a very attractive offering, and it's one where we find that partners can derive a great degree of differentiation and also a higher profit margin profile. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Rochelle, who will talk a little bit more about our partner program.
Perfect. Thanks, Greg. So as Greg talked about, giving you kind of an overview of the capabilities, the services that we have, really the rubber meets the road around the ability for us to partner, and that's where all roads lead to the Concerto Partner Network. So we, our kind of mantra and mission in life around partnerships is that if you guys are successful, in turn, we are successful. So we have a pretty comprehensive ecosystem of partners that range from independent software vendors, so those who want to spend their efforts and time on their own development activities and their own applications and developing those, and enabling someone like ourselves to handle their cloud for them. We have value-added resellers who, potentially partners such as yourself, and the ecosystem beyond, with all the major tech firms across the Ciscos of the world, the AWSs, the Microsofts, where there is a generation of net new revenue opportunities housed in the cloud, and how can we support and enable both providing education and enablement to sales teams that are within our partners, as well as helping them go and sell together. And then we also have managed service providers who, may already be on a subscription type model, and so are very familiar with what it means to have monthly recurring revenue streams, but need to add that true and deep cloud expertise to their portfolio. And so if we can help our partners grow the customer base, build that recurring revenue, and increase their skills in the market, in turn will create those that margin and profit, which is so prevalent right now within the cloud space. Brian, if you could just move forward the slide, that would be great. So getting practical, and that's what we do pretty fast. Our mission is to try and effectively get a partner to the cloud efficiently, without cutting corners, and to be in a position where we can have a long-term and continued partnership. And these are not partnerships of, let's write some ideas on a napkin and have lunch together. We all know those forms of partnerships. Not that we don't pride ourselves on being pretty personal with our partnerships and really getting to know the business of our partners deep, but we do have some boundaries on what we do and can do and enable. And so these are just an example of some of the CPN benefits you would find coming into the Concerto Partner Program. And as you move up the levels, you'll have more and more enablement opportunities. We do have live people, so in the spirit of Greg's analogy of the support we have on the cloud advisory side and private cloud and public cloud management, our partner program takes the same tone, where we do have live bodies assisting and supporting partners as they go on their cloud journey. We favorably think through what would be the 2 to 3 best things we can do with a net new partner that will enable. And every partner has a different story. Every partner, it's not a vanilla approach. We really have to figure out what is going to make you successful and what services from Concerto you can take advantage of. Brian, if you want to move that along. So in terms of requirements, we do have minimum MRR goals. Our customer base is very diverse, and we range from some of the largest enterprises globally who are currently managed through partners in our cloud today, all the way down to 100 some odd churches who want to run their mission critical donation applications in our cloud. And so the one thing that we have really evolved is understanding the different verticals and lines of business, and so we really try and work closely with our partners around that. But we have an onboarding process which is quite deep and comprehensive. That includes things like a partner day where we just sit down and understand your business and you understand ours, and we have a meeting of the minds as to how this partnership is going to unfold and come together. We have enablement, which entails anywhere from virtual, depending on where your sales team and where your operation team sits, anywhere from virtual to face-to-face, depending on what makes sense. We have a marketing leader in our organization who spends time with your marketing organization or person or outsourced agency, depending on the size of your company, to chat through elements of what makes you guys tick, what is your marketing strategy, do you need help building out that cloud strategy, and how we can support you. And then again, it's all about storytelling. So things like POCs and demonstration capabilities is critical because you're only as good as your last customer story. And so we really make an effort to get that first, let's get us to our first customer together so we can repeat and scale that out for both businesses. Brian, if you want to move that along. So, what does it mean to become a Concerto partner? And I think I stated we are not a company that's signing, it's checking a box and signing thousands of partners. We truly look for that fit, and the fit that will generate return and a healthy P&L for both organizations. So we do things like signing that mutual NDA. We do perform that technical proof of concept to make sure that what you're putting out to market, what you're choosing to place on your website is saying that you have you've committed to a cloud provider, or you are proud to be partnered with this with a Concerto, that you have absolute confidence that that technology is working for you. We do have a channel partner agreement, and then we really focus on going through that cloud workshop. So are we going to be doing any one of the 4 items there? And depending on the life cycle and where you are in your cloud journey, it could be more operational planning, or it could be more marketing enablement. It could be some strong pre-sales, or it could be talking at a very executive strategic level around business transformation. So we really have that menu of items that we can choose to put together in a plan that makes sense for your business. And then we're all about execution. So we want to execute in a way that's efficient and moving at the same speed of light the cloud is, but in some cases going slow to go fast to make sure that you are getting through it in the appropriate amount of time with the right resources, and that you yourself are ready to make that jump. Brian, if we want to move that.
Yep.
So with that, I think, Brian, I don't know if I want to pass it back to you to see if there are any questions for either Greg or myself around Concerto.
Yes, so for those folks on the call, now is a great time, if you have questions, to ask them. You can either unmute yourself manually. I probably won't unmute everybody because we'll hear just all kinds of background noise. But if you have a question, you can use the chat function within WebEx and ask the question that way, as well as by unmuting yourself manually if you want to for just a minute. So while you're thinking about that, I will also say that if you have any questions about Cisco and cloud services in general, I know Leah asked the question, so I'll just, while you guys are thinking of questions, I'll try to tackle that one. Leah says you have a product for email archiving. And yes, we have multiple ways we can do that. I'll try to see what I can do to help show you. Some of it's cloud partner provided, as well as I think we may be able to do something with our email security product, but I'll have to check on that. But definitely that's something that I'm sure we can help you with, Leah, for your customers. So again, I'll get you some follow-up information on that. Dave just asked a question. Do you have an ROI spreadsheet we could use for clients on a public cloud considering a private cloud? And I don't know, Dave, if you're directing that at me or at Concerto. I'll ask Greg and Rochelle if you guys have any kind of ROI tools, anything for you guys, Concerto. If you guys have any ROI tools.
Greg, do you want to take that, given you're so entrenched in that side?
Yeah, we have a number of different ROI tools. We have ROI tools for customers, and then we also have them for partners to help determine what the best fit is for deployment for their customers. In other words, where you're going to make the most money and what the balance is. So we have a number of different tools. I think if you reach out to us afterwards, whoever it was that was asking the question, or if anybody's interested, we'd be happy to discuss it in further detail.
And Dave, we'll be sharing the contact information for Greg and Rochelle as part of the follow-up, so you'll have a chance to connect with them if you're interested in talking more, as well as everybody else, of course. So thanks for the question. And he says thanks. Anyone else? Bueller? I know we have about a minute left. I want to get you out here on time. How we say that? Everyone gets a kick out of me. I come up with weird things all the time. My Ferris Bueller reference. So good. Well, if you have any other questions, I'm still monitoring the chat window. And yes, the next screen actually has your contact information. So if you do want to document it down, thanks, Kim. If you do want to write it down, you can right now. It's rochelle.coleman or greg.pierce@concertocloud.com. But again, I will share that as part of the follow-up. And again, you'll get a copy of the material and a copy of the recording as soon as I have a chance to pull it together later today.